welcome everyone to another session in our tax automation series related to OneSource tax provision functionality. In this session, we're going to talk about some batch reporting. So a lot of times we are printing, let's say, the same reports over and over again, but really we are doing that for a particular data set. And let's say we're doing Q1, and then it comes around again, it's Q2. And in Q2, we need to print the same report. Again, the only difference is that it's for the different data set, all right? Same unit, same type of reports, etc. So how can we build in a little bit of efficiency into that process? What we can use is something called batch reporting. And within the software, this is basically a view, a saved view of a particular report. And it's important when we say saved view that you create the report exactly the way you want it to look. You create the report at a specific unit or sub-consolidation level that you want it, with the specific currency that you want the report in. And that's what's saved, because as I mentioned earlier, the only difference from one period to the next will be the data set. So how do we go about doing that? So first off, let's say I'm going to use my consolidation as a sample. I'm going to run the tax provision report. And I am going to do a breakout by unit. And as you can see, I'm in my reporting currency. So I'm going to run this. And I have all my units here, and I've got my, everything showing my calculation of my overall tax provision. It's all there. So I want to save this report, this exact view for going forward. So if you go up to this upper left-hand section, you will see something that says repository. Now, what's important to note is that this will not become accessible until you have selected a report from the drop-down listing. So it's important because right now I'm just going to save my first report. There's nothing here yet, but going forward, when you need to access this area, you don't necessarily have to run a report. You just need to select something to be able to trigger the screen. Okay, so you will see two things, two folders here. One's called My Reports, one is called Shared Reports. Now, the difference between the two is that if you save anything into My Reports, that will only be for your specific view. Anything saved to Shared Reports will be available to anyone that has access to the data set. Now, with shared reports, those can only be created by someone who has administrative rights to the software. So this may mean that you might just have to go to your administrator if you want particular reports that you think will be useful throughout the entire department. So I've already created my reports. I can go ahead and select the add button. Just going to give it a custom name, and you want to try to be as specific as possible. Oops, I had my uppercase on. I'll call it console tax prov, and I'll just say reporting. All right, so I know it's my reporting currency. Folder location, I don't want this just to be for myself, so I'm going to select the drop down, and I have admin rights, so I'm going to put it into shared reports. Now you have the ability to say apply to multiple data sets. And what this does is it gives you the option to select data sets that have already been created to put the reports in, because for data sets that are going to be created in the future, you will have the ability to say you want to copy the reports from one data set to the next. So I'm just going to cancel out of this. Oops, I did not mean to do that. I meant to hit back. Okay, so let me just put that back in again. For reporting, and I'm going to save it into my shared. I'm going to click save. Okay, and right now you see it's dropped into my shared reports folder. Let's go create one for the deferred balances. I want to see my federal, state plus FBOS. I want to do maybe a hybrid roll-up view. For my footnote, I want to do the ending balance broken out. So just going to go down here and select the ending balance. And then I'm going to hit run. And I am going to save that as soon as it comes up. Okay, so I'm going to click on my repository again. And it is going to give me my shared reports. Now, this one actually, I am going to kind of, I realize that I kind of put this here, but maybe I wanted to break it out. Let's see, this one is audit report. So I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to add that auditor's report. And I am going to now create my new, it's going to be my console. Okay, and I am going to choose in my drop down, I am going to say I want to put it into my auditor's report. Now, you'll notice that a warning comes up. So once you've created a subfolder, you are not able to go back to a prior data set because the subfolder would not exist potentially in a prior data set. So that's just what that warning is. So I'll click save. And now I have two variations. So I've got my console that's in my auditor's report, and then I just kind of have this generic area here. So now I kind of want to print my reports, because going forward, you're gonna maybe want to print out, you'll have a suite of reports for your auditors. Maybe you want to print it out to send it to them. You have a suite of reports for yourself. But I'm just gonna go ahead and select all of my reports within my shared folder. I'm gonna check the box to submit it. Just gonna give it a batch name. I'm just gonna say test reports. My output type, XLS, is the best. The reports in OneSource tax provision do not come out very nicely in PDF, unfortunately. So XLS is most of what you will do. We can group by report level in separate files, so that would bring the reports out in different files, or we can compress it to a zip file. I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to leave those unchecked, hit OK. Now, in order for me to see the processing area, I'm going to go back up to this area and select the second button called Batch Reports. And if I click on it, you will see that my reports are processing. So this allows you to keep working while the software, kind of sets your stuff up in the background. You can come back to it whenever you're ready. I'm gonna just refresh and I can see it's been completed and I can download it. Now, when I download my report, you will see that I've got my console tax prov and my console deferred tax affected ending balance report. So when I create, as I mentioned, when I create a brand new data set going forward, I will be able to select the batch reports as an option for copying those reports so that they will now show up in my brand new data set when I'm ready for those reports. And I can run them. So I'm just going to come right back in here just to show you. I don't have a report selected. The repository will not open. So I'm just going to open the tax provision. Just click on the tax provision, run the repository, and my reports are there. Now, I didn't run the report yet, but I already have the console and I know that's the one I want to run. So I'll just click on it. And that's automatically going to run the report for me in the exact setup that I wanted, which is broken out by units. So that is how you can set up your batch reports. little nuances around. Remember, you can only do shared reports if you have admin access. If you've got no admin access, you'll only be able to do my reports. Earlier, I set this up. So I set it up. What happens if I realize that maybe I should have put that under the auditors? I can go and I can edit it. And I can just change the location and move it to the auditors and click save. Now I probably just have to come out and re-trigger the report. And now you can see it's under my auditors reports as well, and no longer just under my shared reports. So if you put something in the wrong folder, don't panic. You can make the change. You will notice another little thing is that this was the first report I created, was a consol tax prov, followed by the consol deferred tax effect. Unfortunately, that's how the system is set up. It's in the order that you created the report. So sometimes, clients will want their reports to come out in a particular order. So you'll have to keep that in mind when you are setting it up. If you care about the order that it comes out in, you may have to go delete something you've already set up and set it up again in the order that you want it to be, because that's the way it will show up in the software in your Excel report when you export it out. Hope you found this useful and look forward to seeing you in another session.